There was a quiet storm building, hidden, silent, until one moment it wasn't. It started with one leak. Not subtle in execution, but explosive in its effect. A snippet of raw, uncut footage hidden deep within the TLC vaults, never intended for viewing, surfaced in the most unlikely of places. An anonymous forum post on a small reality TV crewworkers' online community. A post-production crank had finally lost it. And suddenly, the cat was out of the bag. The video spread quickly. Hours later, it made its way to Reddit. Then TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. It spread the fandom like wildfire. And far from the pandemonium, in a quiet corner of Utah, Christine Woolley, née Christine Brown, was having a brief respite of peace with her husband David. The children were gone. The house was quiet. Then her phone began ringing. A deluge of missed calls. Messages illuminating her screen. "Christine, you have to watch this. That Flagstaff fight, the actual video is up. Kody and Robyn, they've been caught. You weren't imagining things." She gasped for breath. Her fingers shook as she clicked the link. What she saw made her stomach turn. The video began with a harsh jolt. No opening, no glitz, just craziness. Kody striding around, angry and rumpled. Robyn rigid at the kitchen counter, arms crossed, seething eyes. "She'll never respect our marriage," Robyn growled. "You either make her go away or get her to shape up." Kody didn't dispute. He just nodded, slow and beaten. "She's jealous of what we have," he whispered. Robyn's voice lowered into something sinister. "I'm done being quiet. I'm your true wife. I need to be protected. Christine is poison. She's wrecking our narrative." She spun around, oblivious her mic was still live. "We can't keep broadcasting her tantrums. I'm the villain here. That must end. Begin assigning blame now." Yes, just that quietly, Kody let it all out, a deep breath of resignation. And then cut to black. The net erupted, but Christine, silence, for a day, not one word. She had time to process, breathe, get through the anger. Then morning dawned. She sat down, collected, focused, a video message to her 1.1 million fans. "I've remained silent out of respect," she started. "For my children, for the show, for a family I once thought I believed in." Her voice cracked, then stabilized. But after watching that video, silence is no longer an option. She spoke directly into the camera. "Robyn, you told Kody to deflect. You wanted me out, then you became the victim. And Kody, you consented. For years, you made me doubt my reality, you gaslit me, but now everyone can see the truth." A pause, a faint, almost relieved smile. "I don't regret leaving. I only regret how long I stayed." Meanwhile, at TLC, a storm was brewing behind the scenes. Robyn was furious. She stormed into the phones, demanding explanations, threatening lawsuits. She said she was denied her privacy. But the network, nothing, ice cold. They knew something she did not. Ratings were through the roof. Opinions had turned, and Robyn was the new villain. Desperate in a flash, she live-streamed on Instagram. No makeup, tight face, shaky voice. That video, it was out of context. "It was a difficult day. I didn't mean what I said, not like that." But supporters weren't having it. The messages flooded in. 101 Gaslighting. "You said what you said." "Christine deserves an apology, not excuses." Then one post shattered her. "You're not the actual wife, you're the last one." The livestream cut out abruptly. She vanished from the screen. But others were just getting started. Janelle Brown, unflinching and solid, posted a lengthy message on her Instagram story. "I was with Christine when she left, privately and publicly, but after seeing that video, I didn't know how deep the betrayal went." The reality was finally coming to light, and no one could erase it from their minds now. We were all made to think it was sacred, that we were being witness to something heavenly, a family tied in by faith, togetherness, and love, but that veil of ignorance was ripped apart. Because it wasn't a spiritual pact. It was Robyn's reign. And then, out of the silence, a voice you didn't expect rang out, Mary, once the quiet, devoted one, always relegated to the periphery, suffering. But now she rose. "Loyalty," she said, "is staying. I used to think quiet endurance was strength, but remaining quiet in the presence of injustice, that's complicity." "Christine, I see you now, I believe you, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry for allowing that poison to spread unstemmed." It was the first time Mary publicly took Christine's side. Fans took notice. So did Kody. And Kody, he was coming apart. Days later, he was a guest on a fan podcast, desperate to scrape back what little pride he had left. Defensive, bitter, accusing fingers at Christine, at the network, even the editors. "That clip," he growled, "was taken out of context. Every family brawls." But the host did not back down. "Sure," they responded, "but not every husband sits idly by as one wife schemes to send the others into exile." Kody's face clenched, his temper ignited. "Christine wanted to leave," he snarled. "That clip doesn't change anything." The host leaned in, quiet, controlled. "Or does it only confirm why she left, that she was being pushed out bit by bit?" Kody froze, his eyes went down. For the first time in years, he seemed small. 2 weeks later, Christine posted again. Morning sunlight warmed her kitchen. She stood tall, peaceful, free. "I've had time to reflect," she began softly. "And the truth is that video didn't shock me. It validated everything. The truth always finds its way through. The gaslighting stops now." She looked directly into the camera. "To every woman in a toxic marriage, trust your instincts. And remember, taking responsibility doesn't mean being cruel. I've found love, real love, a partner, a future. No leak, no lie, no manipulation can take that away from me." And just like that, Christine Woolley turned the page, leaving the last piece of her old life behind. But fans, they kept watching, because something bigger was unfolding. Inside TLC headquarters, panic surged. Damage control went into overdrive. That leaked video had created a firestorm that rivaled even the initial sister wives' days. But this time, it was not merely about viewership, it was about revelation. Because behind the scenes, the executives knew. They had witnessed the unedited footage, Robyn's manipulations, Kody's involvement, the hushed instructions to deflect blame. It had all been recorded on tape and meticulously edited out before broadcast. One of the producers, who spoke anonymously at last, revealed to a journalist, "We made editorial decisions to save the family's reputation. We knew, if the public was shown the entire story, they'd never take Robyn's side." It was a revelation that came like a bombshell. And then were the daughters of Christine. Gwendolyn, ever one for telling it as it is, released a 9-minute firebomb on YouTube called, "They Allowed My Mom to Be Embarrassed." And the title spoke volumes. "I would yell at the TV," she growled between gritted teeth. "Robyn would smile on TV, then turn around and tell Kody that my mother was crazy or jealous. And the producers, they allowed it. They nurtured that storyline. Don't tell me that Robyn always came out looking like the victim was an accident." Her voice broke, her eyes watered. "My mother better than that, so did we." Then came Mykelti, the measured one, always diplomatic, until now. On her Instagram story, she did a truth bomb of her own. "That clip, it wasn't even the worst of it. You should have heard what Robyn said about Truly. They weaponized loyalty, manipulated my mom into staying." And just like that, the last mask fell. The narrative the public had been following for more than a decade was never whole truth. But now the truth had claws, and it wasn't returning to the darkness. But somehow, she got out. Christine broke free. And all of a sudden, what many had long suspected was no longer a rumor on fan sites, it was inescapable, seeable, unadorned, real. The final nail wasn't driven by a cast member. It was driven by the machine itself. A former editor, exasperated with the deceit, violating her NDA, wrote a sobering expose on Substack called, "This is what you were never meant to see. I edited the sister wives' lies." She didn't mince words. In the article, she exposed producers had been given explicit instructions by TLC executives. Protect Robyn. Make Christine cry. Make Kody confused, not cruel. A fabricated reality, constructed with care. She explained hours and hours of unaired footage, scenes where Robyn was manipulating behind the scenes, threatening to remove her children from the set if she did not have it her way. And Christine, her meltdowns were genuine. Her hurt was genuine, and the editors made it entertainment. It was a statement that left nothing to question. And then silence. For the first time in more than a decade, Kody and Robyn vanished. No live streams, no interviews. Robyn disabled comments on her posts. Kody's cameo page disappeared. Once they were seen, running into a black SUV, departing from Flagstaff with their heads down and their eyes avoiding eye contact with the paparazzi. No smiles, just shadows. Speculation abounded. Were they off to see attorneys, or covertly strategizing what's next? Behind the scenes at TLC, sources whispered that the network had finally wiped its hands clean, that Kody was still pleading in private, imploring for a redemption arc. But no one was falling for it anymore. "They're toxic," one producer bluntly said. "Too toxic to repackage, the fairy tale isn't selling." And Christine, she didn't have anything to say. She didn't tweet memes, didn't reference viral hashtags, didn't utter "I told you so." Rather, she shared one photo, her and David on a hike close to Zion. No makeup, no words, just serenity. Her fans knew. This was triumph, not achieved by revenge but by truth, by freedom, by quiet, steadfast, unconquerable authenticity. The last illusion had fallen. Her daughters were with her. Millions of strangers everywhere in the world picked her up. And finally, the story changed. The victim had never been Robyn. The issue had never been Christine. And Kody. He wasn't the father figure. He was only the empty core of a falling empire. Behind the doors of TLC's boardroom, there was tension. Ratings were up, but not because anyone was sitting down to watch for unity or family values anymore. They were watching a slow-motion train wreck. And the ratings didn't lie. Robyn's approval had hit an all-time low. Kody's trust factor, forget about it. And Christine's older clips, they were drawing triple the viewership of Kody's latest scenes. It was then that Leah Granger, CEO of TLC, made the decision. "Enough. This show requires a reboot," she said softly. "Christine, her daughters, their reality is what viewers are believing in now." The working title for the series: Sister Wives, Reclaimed. Robyn and Kody got the boot. Officially. The network rep contacted Kody first. He attempted to negotiate. He insisted that the show couldn't exist without him. "I am the patriarch," he barked. "This doesn't function without me." The network rep hesitated, then replied with soft finality. "Kody, you don't have sister wives, and it's been a long time since you did." Robyn was said to have tearfully burst into tears when she heard the news. She had assumed her job with TLC was secure, that as the protector of the family's reputation, her place was secure, but rather her contract was cut effective immediately. No renewal provision, no spin-off, just an end. And they walked away. No goodbye episode, no retrospective, no curtain call. Just a closed door. Within 48 hours, Christine, Janelle, and the daughters took charge. The legacy had changed. The story belonged to the women at last. The reboot team landed in Utah with another kind of energy. No soundstage, no massive set, just mountains, still air and reality. Christine greeted them not with fanfare, but with quiet determination. "If we're doing this," she said to them, "then it has to be real, no scripts, no phony moments. My kids get the last word on what goes on the air. And I want to demonstrate healing, not surviving, but thriving." Janelle also joined the discussion. She had just relocated to a property nearby. Never eager to follow the spotlight, she spoke clearly of her boundaries. She'd join in, but only if her children's histories were presented honestly and respectfully. The producers were over the moon. What they saw was charged. No manufactured drama, no manufactured tension. Just Christine, Janelle, and their older children, Gwen, Mykelti, Savannah, and Pedon, being themselves freely, truthfully, and finally safely. The working title of the pilot: After the Fire, Rebuilding the Real Sisterhood. Filming day 1 started on a chilly Utah morning. Christine and David served brunch in their bright kitchen. No script, just the aroma of pancakes, the laughter, and the ease that accompanied freedom. No one held back around the table. Mykelti, cradling her baby on her hip, spoke of living in Robyn's shadow. Gwendolyn joked about being queer, proud, and no longer fearing going against old beliefs. And Savannah, silent for so long, spoke at last. Of her father, of the abandonment. And this time, the tears were not from shame or confusion, but tears of release. Tears of healing. And Christine, she radiated. She turned to the camera and spoke gently. This is the truth. No more filters. No more silence. This is who we are, and this is where we start. It was the most real the franchise had ever had. And then there was the teaser. TLC released a 90-second teaser for Sister Wives, reclaimed, and the internet went wild. No Kody, no Robyn, just Christine, David, and the adult children, laughing, crying, hiking, cooking, living. And it ended not with a logo, but a statement. The issue was never us, the future is us. Sister Wives Reclaimed lit up social media. It trended globally within hours. Fans were on fire. This is the version we've waited for. Robyn and Kody thought they were the show. Turns out, Christine is the show. Give Gwen her own spin-off, now. And as the world leaned in, Kody unraveled. Back in Flagstaff, he became a ghost of himself. A neighbor told reporters he no longer left the house much. The sleek sports car, parked and dusty, his signature look, replaced by an unkempt beard, pacing the driveway with his hands in his hair. All the other children had tuned him out. Dayton and Aurora were the only ones who still listened. Even Brianna, who was older now, had crept away quietly, preferring the tranquility of book learning to the upheaval of a failing dynasty. Robyn, she remained in the shadows. No posts, no livestream, no attempt at explanation. There was no cast arriving on the scene to rescue the story. The empire had crashed, and this time, no one was recreating it. In the living room of Christine, however, a new tradition was beginning to form. The walls no longer held posed family photos in identical outfits. There were instead snapshots of actual times, tousled, joyful, boisterous. Children with dirty faces. Grandchildren pulling at David's beard. A wooden sign above them, all that read, "The family you create is stronger than the one you escape." For the season finale, Christine sat for one last confessional. Her voice was firm, eyes clear. For years, she told us, I thought I had to shrink myself to fit inside someone else's mold. But I'm done with that now. This life, this house, this family, this is everything I ever dreamed of. Then came August 1st. The night everything changed. The premiere of Sister Wives. Reclaimed played in a private screening for cast members, producers, and some longtime viewers. A new era had dawned. One not about polygamy. Not about patriarchy. But about freedom, forgiveness, and the women who finally reclaimed the story that was always theirs. TLC spared no expense for the truly unforgettable experience of a special screening party in Salt Lake City, surrounded by the stunning vista of the Wasatch Mountains. The evening was filled with acoustic sounds, local cuisine, and gentle lights that shone like stars. No one, including the producers, could have guessed what was to happen on that screen, however. Christine and David showed up first, arm in arm, her navy blue outfit shining just so. That smile serene, yet unmistakably proud. Janelle came along, walking together with her daughter Savannah, both exuding quiet strength. Next was Gwendolyn, her happiness undeniable, wearing a suit with her fiancé. Mykelti floated in with her babies, ringed by cameras, cheers, and plain admiration. And then the lights went down. The crowd leaned in. The premiere of the reclaimed Sister Wives started. It began plain, Christine in her kitchen, morning light pouring in, a steaming cup of coffee clutched in her hands. She gazed straight out and said, I had to leave in order to discover who I was. That quickly the tone was established. This wasn't a sequel, it was a rebirth. Janelle's voice followed, rough and unfettered. She told of hurt, autonomy, and the pieces of herself she'd almost lost. Christine saw her daughter's laughter, bonding, mending. But the time that filled the space was from David. Sitting beside Truly, he said softly, You've seen a lot. I'm not here to replace your father. I'm here to demonstrate what love is. Silence, then tears. Even experienced producers averted their faces quietly, overwhelmed. After the credits finished rolling, the audience was standing. Thunderous applause. Christine, normally poised, blinked through tears. This met every dream I had, she whispered. We didn't merely tell our story, we healed in the act of telling it. Throughout TikTok, responses poured in, individuals crying, cheering, standing in their own living rooms clapping. The week's most reposted video. Christine walking through her new house, dancing with her grandbabies, laughing alongside Janelle. One tweet summarized the feeling to a T. We watched Christine get overlooked for 17 seasons. Tonight she was celebrated, full circle. But as the world cheered the sisters on, one face wasn't around the party, Meri Brown. Sitting alone in her Utah B&B, she silently watched the show. She hadn't been invited. No one from production called. Yet fans inundated her phone with messages. So she did something unusual. She went live on Instagram. Her voice was quivering and soft, but it consumed the screen. I just saw the episode, Christine, you were so happy. Janelle, I'm proud of you, truly. And then she stopped. The tears began. For years, she confessed, I believed that loyalty was being quiet, that if I hung around long enough, someone would finally pick me. But all I ever received were the leftovers. Her voice broke. I lingered too long, I lost myself. That's nobody's fault but my own. But when I saw Christine laugh today, I knew that's what I desire too. The internet went wild. And the very next day, Meri made it official. Her publicist issued the statement. Meri Brown will be relocating full-time to her Utah company and abandoning the Flagstaff property. She's decided to forge her own way, one independent of the Brown family legacy. But there was more to come. TLC had a final surprise. A green light for a completely new docuseries called Becoming Meri. A path to self-worth, rediscovery, and reclaiming during a time of spiritual exile. Meanwhile, back in Flagstaff, the quiet was oppressive. Kody remained tight-lipped. Robyn went dark, but insiders gossiped that Kody was not upset with TLC, he was seething at Meri. He'd always thought that she would stay. Loyal, quiet, his. The notion that she stole the limelight took a spin-off. That shattered him. Sources confirm he attempted to call her several times. She did not return the call. Robyn, the former face of the sister wives, had become invisible. The woman who once beamed at cameras, shared family news, and hawked her jewelry business had gone completely dark. Her kids no longer appeared in town, her social media went quiet, and the jewelry store quietly closed. No press releases, no interviews, just silence. And no one came running to grieve the collapse of the so-called kingdom. But in Salt Lake City, the party continued on. At the post-show party, Christine fielded questions from a studio audience. The room remained charged with emotion from the premiere. And then one fan jumped to his feet, his voice quivering but with sincerity. Christine, how did you keep going when you were ignored for all those years? She met his gaze for a moment, serene and confident, and then bestowed upon him a gentle, knowing smile. Because I knew it in my heart, she stated, that better things were ahead. I didn't know when or how, I just knew I was worthy of joy, peace, and true love. Her gaze locked with David's among the throngs. I was right. And the audience erupted in that moment. Cheers, tears, standing ovation, like they too had waited years to hear those words. What a journey. Let us hear your opinions in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for further updates like this. Thanks for watching.